Do you remember Friday nights in the 90s? You would grab your snacks, find your favorite spot on the couch, and just wait for that theme song to start playing. The moment it hit, everything else disappeared. No homework, no stress, no worries at all. Just pure Friday night happiness. That was what Step by Step did for millions of kids every single week. It was not just a show you watched. It was the best part of your entire week, and you looked forward to it every single day. Patrick Duffy played Frank Lambert, a simple, hard-working dad in flannel shirts, just trying to keep his family together every single day. Suzanne Somers played Carol Foster, a strong and funny woman who ran her own hair salon and somehow kept 6 kids from turning the house into complete madness. Together, they gave us one of the most lovable blended families television has ever seen. The show ran from 1991 to 1998, giving us 7 seasons of sibling arguments, teenage drama, big laughs, and a cousin living in a van in the driveway who turned out to be the wisest person in the whole house. But underneath everything you saw on screen, there was a whole other story happening behind the scenes that most people never knew about. Surprising secrets. Real-life moments that quietly changed the show forever. And one love story that was never supposed to happen at all. Stay until the very end, because that last story will genuinely surprise you. If this show was part of your childhood, hit that like button right now and subscribe. Let us get into it. Cody Lambert was only ever supposed to appear in one single episode. When Sasha Mitchell first walked onto that set as the relaxed, easygoing cousin who lived in a van, nobody had any big plans for him at all. He was supposed to show up, get a few laughs, and disappear forever. But the moment the studio audience saw him for the first time, something truly amazing happened. The laughter was loud, real, and completely impossible to fake. The producers recognized it instantly and made a quick decision right there on the spot. Cody was not going anywhere. And what made him so special was that he completely flipped every expectation you had walking in. You expected him to be the funny, clueless one. Instead, he turned out to be the warmest, wisest, and most loyal person in the entire house. Teenage girls had his posters on their walls. Even dads respected him, which almost never happens with sitcom characters. He was the kind of television personality that everyone in the room connected with at exactly the same time, and that is one of the rarest things in all of entertainment. The whole show was basically the Brady Bunch, but with a much more honest and real feeling. By 1991, people were genuinely tired of perfect television families, where every problem got solved in 22 minutes, with a warm hug and cheerful music. Real life did not work that way, and everyone already knew it. So ABC took the familiar concept everyone remembered and made it feel true to life. Frank was not a polished, perfect TV dad with all the answers. He was a regular working man just trying to pay his bills. Carol was not floating through life without a single worry. She was a busy woman running a business and raising kids at the same time. ABC basically told viewers you loved the Brady Bunch, and now here is what it actually looks like when real life gets involved and nothing goes according to plan. Suzanne Somers had been quietly pushed out of Hollywood before Step by Step gave her the comeback she truly deserved. Back in 1980, at the height of her fame on Three's Company, she did something incredibly brave. She asked to be paid the same amount as her male co-star. The network did not respond kindly at all. They cut her scenes down to barely a minute per episode, filmed her separately from the rest of the cast, and eventually she was gone completely, with a reputation for being difficult, following her everywhere she went. For most of the 80s, the big television roles stopped coming her way entirely. But then Carol Foster changed everything. Carol was smart, capable, and completely in charge of her own life. The total opposite of the sweet, bubbly character that had originally made Somers famous. By the mid-90s, the very same network that had once pushed her out was now building their entire Friday night lineup around her return. Steve Urkel crossed over into Step by Step in one of the most fun and clever ways 90s television ever pulled off. The Family Matters episode that aired right before Step by Step one evening ended with Urkel launching himself out of the Winslow backyard wearing a rocket pack. Then Step by Step immediately opened with him crashing straight into the Lambert backyard without missing a beat. 2 completely different shows connected by one smooth, unbroken moment. No gap. No explanation needed. ABC was not gently introducing this new show to audiences. They were making a bold announcement. Every Family Matters fan watching that night instantly understood that the Lambert family was now part of the same beloved world they had already spent years growing up with. That gorgeous opening with the roller coasters and the shimmering lake in the background was almost entirely created by the production team. The roller coaster was completely real. That was Colossus at Six Flags Magic Mountain in California, and the cast genuinely rode it over and over while the crew captured every shot they needed. But that lake had absolutely no business being in that picture. Magic Mountain sits in dry California desert with no lake anywhere near it. The production team used old-school visual effects to paint the water right into the scene, covering up the ordinary parking lots and dusty hills that were actually there. Nobody caught it in 1991 because nobody was ever supposed to catch it in the first place. Brandon Call, who played J.T. Lambert, survived a real-life shooting and quietly came back to finish the show without any fuss. In 1996, he was driving home after a normal day on set when a road rage situation turned suddenly dangerous. Another driver followed him to a dead-end street and opened fire. Brandon was hit in both arms, but stayed calm enough to drive himself directly to a police station. And then he simply came back to work. No big storyline, no special episode, just back on set and back to business. The show made quiet adjustments around him without drawing any attention to the reason why. Long sleeves became JT's permanent, everyday look. Camera angles shifted carefully. Most viewers at home never noticed a single change, and that was exactly and intentionally the whole point. Characters on this show had a troubling habit of vanishing from the story with zero explanation offered to anyone watching. In the early seasons, there was an extra child living in the Lambert house. Frank's youngest son, Brendan, was there from the very beginning, quiet and sweet and just part of the everyday family. And then one season, he simply stopped appearing. No goodbye episode. No throwaway line explaining where he went. The writers stopped giving him scenes the moment baby Lily arrived to fill the youngest child role. But Brendan was not even the first to disappear. Back in season 1, Carol had both a sister named Aunt Penny and her mother Ivy appearing regularly as part of the show. By season 2, both were completely and entirely gone. No farewell, no explanation. The show just moved on and trusted that viewers would never stop to notice the missing faces. Patrick Duffy chose Step by Step over much bigger opportunities for one deeply personal and simple reason. He wanted to be home for dinner with his own kids every single night. After 13 seasons playing the powerful Bobby Ewing on Dallas, he could have gone after almost anything. But a sitcom meant daytime rehearsals and one filming night per week. It meant being home like a regular person. That genuine happiness and contentment showed up clearly in every scene he filmed as Frank Lambert. It clicked naturally with Suzanne Somers, and together they created two adults on screen who actually looked like real people who had worked hard and finally earned something truly good in their lives. The marriage the entire show was built on was not even legally recognized for the first 7 episodes. Frank and Carol met in Jamaica, fell fast and completely in love, and got married before thinking it through properly. 6 kids, 1 house. Total chaos from the very first day. But 7 episodes into the first season, they found out their Jamaican wedding had never been legally valid under the law. The whole blended family was sitting on a marriage that did not yet officially exist. Carol wanted a proper ceremony done exactly right. Frank was happy just signing a paper at City Hall and calling it done. What they actually got was a wedding squeezed in during a child's birthday party, while Frank was still dressed as a clown because the hired entertainment had canceled at the very last minute. Chaotic, ridiculous, and completely perfect for 2 people who never once stopped to think before jumping into anything life threw at them. Step by Step ended without ever getting a real ending. And that truth still stings deeply for anyone who loved the show. In 1997, CBS convinced both Step by Step and Family Matters to leave ABC with the promise of a shiny new Friday night lineup. For kids who had treated Friday night ABC like a sacred weekly tradition, the move felt wrong from the very first night. The familiar flow was broken. The comfortable routine everyone had counted on for years was simply gone. Ratings dropped fast, and the magic did not survive the change. CBS canceled the show in February of 1998 and played out the remaining episodes over the following months, without any ceremony or acknowledgement of what was ending. And here is what makes it genuinely heartbreaking. The writers had been carefully building toward something real and meaningful. The planned series finale was supposed to be Dana and Rich's wedding, a proper emotional goodbye for 7 full years of Friday nights that had meant so much to an entire generation. Instead, the last episode that actually aired was a completely ordinary story about Frank thinking about moving the family to a new house. Credits rolled quietly, and just like that it was over. No wedding, no farewell, no final scene built to give 7 seasons the ending they had honestly earned. The Lambert family never got their proper goodbye. They just quietly and sadly ran out of Fridays. And now here is the one fact that will change the way you see this entire show. Dana and Rich were never supposed to fall in love with each other. When Rich first showed up in Season 5 as JT's relaxed and slightly goofy best friend, he was simply background noise. Easy laughs and nothing more. Definitely not someone the writers were building a love story around. Dana was sharp-driven, brilliantly opinionated, and had zero patience for someone like Rich who did not seem to take anything seriously at all. She could not stand him from the moment they first shared a scene. But the audience could see the chemistry between them from miles away long before either character had any awareness of it themselves. By Season 6, they were a real couple. By the final stretch of the show, the entire series was supposed to close with their wedding as the big emotional finale. A beautiful ending for a relationship that had started as nothing more than a running joke between a slacker and the girl who found him completely unbearable. The wedding never happened because the cancellation came first and took everything with it. There were even early conversations about a spin-off series following Dana and Rich beyond the Lambert house. That idea quietly disappeared too, which honestly feels like the most fitting ending possible for a show that never once received the goodbye it had fully and completely deserved. And that is the real story of Step by Step. A show built on a simple familiar idea, powered by characters nobody planned to keep, and ended long before it ever got the proper goodbye that 7 seasons of Friday nights had earned. Which fact surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments right now. Hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video like this one. Share this with someone who still knows every single word of that theme song by heart. We will see you in the next one.